overcrowded graveyard, the scream will rise. Ghoulmates Entertainment presents Not Another Spooky Podcast.
Welcome back to Not Another Spooky Podcast, where we serve freshly popped horror reviews filled with blood, guts, and spoilers every Monday. I'm Mandy Spooks.
And I'm Rabbit Loves Horror, and we're here to remind you theaters are not dead one bloody popcorn bucket at a time.
Whether you love going to every single horror release or you want to hear all the reviews and spoilers before spending your money, we've got you covered. The front half of the show never has any spoilers and will warn you when it's time. Today we're grave digging into Final Destination Bloodlines. If you ever want to know what we're covering next, you can check the show notes to see what you should watch that weekend. To set the vibe for this episode, we'll start with a round of Bone, Marry, Slash. I feel like this is the first movie we've seen where there's relatively good eye candy to do all around. So I wanted to lean into that, going with three of the characters from the movie. So first we have Paul Campbell, which is like the boyfriend of Iris from the previews, the young throwback couple. And then we have the two brothers, which are Bobby Campbell and Eric Campbell. And make sure you don't give any spoilers in this round when you go.
I'll try not to.
Okay.
No, I thought this was genius. I was like thinking, okay, we can do Bone, Marry, Slash, Kill or whatever with death or something. And then I think I was just thinking way too much. And you kind of just like, you know what, let's just do this. I love this idea. Okay, so try not to get into any spoilers, but I did love the two brothers characters. I really like them. So I'm going to have to slash Paul Campbell.
Okay.
Because I love the other two characters a little too much. I guess I'll bone Bobby. He was so cute. And then I guess I'll marry Eric because, I don't know, I just liked his vibe. He seems pretty cool.
Oh no, we have our first standoff. I will fight you for Eric.
Oh my gosh. So what are your picks?
Yeah, so obviously I would marry Eric. He was a little like, come on, man, throughout the movie, but also, I don't know, he was just my vibe, and he reminded me a lot of a character I like visually, he looks a lot like Cappy from Greek. I don't know if you've ever seen it. So I was vibing with him. I would slash Bobby though. Like, he was cute and I was like, oh, the whole time over him, but not my cup of tea. And then bone Paul Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, I do see the bone for Paul Campbell in this picture that you pulled because he looks completely different from the movie. Like, he has, I don't know, like a new dye job or something. He looks really cute in this picture that you got from IMDb. So I guess if anybody wants to know the picture that we're looking at, just go to IMDb and look at the Final Destination Bloodlines picture. He looks really cute.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into some
haunted housekeeping.
All right, Ghoulsters, we have our first break, which is freaking crazy, over a month. We have our first break from a new horror movie coming out in theaters this weekend. So that means we finally get to do our first Stream and Scream episode. So on off weeks of new releases, which seem very rare this year, which is very exciting, but has been very tiring at the same time, we'll be covering horror movies that are streaming. So next week, we'll be grave digging into 28 Days Later to get you guys prepped for 28 years later. And Rabbit, do you want to share a little bit about how 28 weeks is not part of it?
Yeah, so yes, I'm also kind of excited that we don't have to go to the theater this coming week. I don't think I've ever gone to the theater this much, like, consistently. So it'll be nice to kind of like mix up the week and not have to go to the theater. But yes, yeah. I saw something on either TikTok or Reddit maybe, where they were saying that 28 years later is going to be a continuation of 28 days later, and they're kind of doing like a different timeline. I don't know, but it's just not connected to 28 weeks later. So we're just gonna pretend that doesn't exist. So we're gonna rewatch 28 Days Later and then go into 28 weeks later. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. And if anyone's listening with enough time, 28 Days Later is going to be showing at AMC on May 21st. So you can go catch it in theaters if you would like. I think I am very, very grateful for the break, but not because of the movies. Like, I love going to the movies. It's just like the recording on Sundays that has been a lot for me. So yeah. I'm looking forward to a little weekend break. It landed nicely with Memorial Day too. All right. Yeah, for sure. All right. I also wanted to share with you guys that I have launched a Patreon. As you all know, I have been working on my final draft of my first original horror short film, and we're starting pre-production very soon. So funds from Patreon will help us feed our cast and crew, conjure up some killer practical effects, and keep our many different content efforts going, including this podcast. But there is something in it for you. I have extra goodies available for different tiers, but the most exciting one right now is the $5 tier called Fangirl Film Club does get monthly watch parties, and the first one coming up is this Sunday, May 25th, and we're watching the original 1980 slasher Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis, and I'm actually hosting an entire week of spooky prom activities across all my platforms, so be sure to check out my YouTube and Instagram at Mandy Spooks, and I'm also offering a free trial for this Patreon tier going live on Wednesday, May 21st, so you'll be able to access the watch party. You can join me and Rabbit. Actually, I haven't confirmed if he's going, but we'll be there, or potentially we'll both be there. I'll be there, and you can hang out with us spooky ghouls, watch the movie, chat about it, and then also get to see what other bonus content I post to see if it's something that you'd like to commit to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I will be there. The date doesn't look like something I have to do something, so it looks like I'll be able to go, which I'm excited for because I've also never seen Prom Night. So that should be fun. I'm really behind on like older horror movies, like from the 80s and 70s. But yeah, so it'll be exciting to kind of scratch that off my movie list.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't seen it either. I've always wanted to. I saw the remake when it came out in theaters, but I don't even remember it anymore because it was so long ago.
Same.
All right, Ghosters, it's time for our favorite chat of the week, Keeping the Spook Alive.
It's alive! It's alive!
All right, Rabbit, how are you keeping the spook alive?
Alrighty, so for this week, we actually watched a movie at home, a classic Paranormal Activity. It was really fun. That movie still holds up. Like, I don't know. It still scared me. I know I had said in a previous episode where I don't really get as scared easily at night with horror movies anymore. But that one had me kind of like, ooh, I want to make sure the covers are covering my feet so I don't get dragged out.
Yeah. That's the scariest part.
Yes. So yeah, going to sleep was the scariest part for that night. But it was still really good. I forgot how good that movie is. And we're actually going to be probably watching Paranormal Activity 2 today. So I'm really excited to kind of just like watch all of them because I really enjoy that series and I really love found footage horror movies. So I'm excited. But something else happened when we were leaving the theater. We were walking out, and then on either side of the theater, there's like a row of trees, and then a row of like super tall palm trees. So we're kind of just like walking out of the theater, and then I hear something fall into a bush. So we look to the left, and it's like a piece of palm tree, like a palm tree leaf or fan kind of thing, like fell all the way from the top into the palm tree or into the tree at the bottom. And there was like a girl sitting maybe 2 or 3 feet away. So I was like, oh my God, Final Destination, death is coming for us. But nothing happened. It just fell into the tree and just like hit the floor. But I don't know. I'm assuming if that hit her head, I think she probably would have got like a cut or something. She wouldn't have died, but she would have got like a cut or something. But yeah, that was kind of spooky, just leaving the theater and then something random like that happening. You're just like, uh-oh.
It definitely lingered on me too, especially because like the wind. And then the next day I was like driving and I was in a rush and I was on the highway. And then I pulled up to this truck that had like those like metal poles that hold like stop signs. They were like stacked on the truck and I was like, nope, changing lanes and slowing down.
No, thank you. I know how this ends up. I'm moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my week. How about your week? What'd you do today or this week?
That's good. I'm glad you were watching the movies. I was surprisingly, when I rewatched Paranormal Activity during Blumfest, I was very proud and shocked that I didn't find it as scary anymore. but I would have been scared if I came home alone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I am definitely, it's really weird. I'm in my actual spooky era, and I've hit my limit. So first of all, I met a new friend. I'm very excited. I met a girl on Instagram that is also a Halloween creator. And we met up for coffee this weekend. She's in town. She's a Twitch streamer, spooky gamer. Well, she doesn't stream spooky stuff, but she loves Halloween. Her name is Say Liz. And we had so much fun, but it was not on my bingo card that we were going to spend like nearly our entire time together talking about ghosts. And also we talked a lot about Annabelle, which I'll get into. So that combined with all of my research for the Haunted Line series and then watching scary movies, I think it has like really just added up already for me. And I actually, sorry to disappoint you guys, I told Rabbit we need to cut the ritual. I need a break from all this religious ghost story stuff. So we won't be covering the ritual. We'll be covering either, what were the other two? Oh, no, I Don't Understand You, I think, right?
I Don't Understand You. It's like a comedy horror movie, which is good. We can mix it up, so it's not always super, super scary.
Yeah, so we'll see how I feel after Bring Her Back, because I'm a little nervous about that one, especially how I'm feeling now. So after that one, we'll decide if we're going to tackle the ritual.
Yeah, I'm nervous for you to watch that movie. When we were walking into the theater this last time, they had like posters up and we're passed by Bring Her Back. And I look at it, I'm like, I'm worried for Amanda to watch this movie. Like, I hope she's okay when she watches this.
Yeah, a few weeks ago I was like, this is great. It's pushing me to watch movies that I wouldn't normally watch. And then after this weekend, yeah, I was so on edge yesterday. So Rudy was editing the Haunted Line episode of the El Paso High School Ghost that came out yesterday. And he knew I was on edge, and so he went to the kitchen and I was cooking, but he like stood in the corner of like I don't know how to explain it, but basically to like where I couldn't see him, but I could feel him. Yeah. And I like literally screamed when I saw him, and I was like, stop it. Like, I'm genuinely scared right now. And then he was like, I'm sorry. And he's like, I just wanted to let you know that the video's rendering and I'm going to the restroom. So if it starts to play, it's not because it's haunted or it's a ghost. Like, it's automatically going to play when it's done rendering. So I was like, okay. And then he needed to go get ice. And I was like, I kind of don't want you to get ice. Like, just we'll drink stuff without ice. Yeah. I don't know why. It's just been, okay, well, I know why. So I was talking to Liz about Annabelle, and I just want to state for safety that I am not talking about her to like ignite her spirit. Nothing. Like, this is truly just to talk about. She is not welcome. But that's what we were talking about. Was I sent you the TikToks too about how they have Annabelle touring right now, allegedly the real one. And I saw another creator saying how she doesn't think it's the real one, that it's just like a replica and they're saying it's real. And I was just like, well, that makes sense to me, but also the whole just in case. And then I had asked Rudy, like, would you want to go see her and take pictures if she stops in Denver? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, what? I was so shocked because he always airs on the just in case side, even though he doesn't believe in anything. And I was just like, I don't know if I would. Like, that's, even if I don't touch her, like, I don't know that I want to be around her. And I asked Liz too, because she's spookier than me. Like, she loves talking about obviously the ghost stories and stuff. And she was like, hell no, I would not go. Really? So now I want to know, would you go?
Yes.
You would go? Oh my gosh, you spooky boy.
I went to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum, and that is creepy. I like how you just did earlier. Like, I don't claim any attention from Annabelle. Like, I never do that. Like, I watch a lot of videos and I see the comments of people saying I claim no bad energy from this video. And I don't know. I don't think that does anything for me. But after I went to that haunted museum and I left, I had to say something like out loud, like, if there's anything following us, please do not follow us, because it was terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had two haunted dolls. I don't remember the names of the haunted dolls, but yeah, they're like locked up in separate rooms in glass cages, and then have like carvings around them to like secure the demon inside, I guess you can say. Yeah, super creepy. But I would go see Annabelle. Why not? She created a whole franchise. That's pretty cool. But I did see, I don't know if you were the one that sent me the video of them transporting her, and there's a guy like in the van, I'm assuming it is, and he's like throwing holy water on it. I don't know. I think that's kind of funny.
I was going to ask why you laughed at it, because you put a laughing emoji, and I was like, I need to save it for the show. Like, it is funny seeing it, but at the same time, I'm like, if they're serious, like, that also makes it scarier at the same time.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I want to say I'm a believer, but then, like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't fully believe just yet. But I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm just like, I don't know. This is kind of silly. Especially when you look at the doll and it's just a Raggedy Ann doll. It's really not that scary.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I know.
I'm talking all these bad things about Annabelle. You're like, please stop talking bad about her.
I'm like, she's going to go for you, not for me. I respect and reject all negative energy. But yeah, so it's been, I don't know, it's just funny how everything kind of just like trickled up, like, I guess snowballed into like really scaring me, because like I was like really on edge yesterday, and like Rudy was playing with me at first, and then he was like, are you really that scared? I'm like, yes, like I'm telling you, I am scared and I need a break from all of this for a little bit. But it's also because like we tried to get ahead on the haunted line, so we're not like doing it weekly and stuff. So I researched like 3 stories in 1 week, and I go hard. Like, I thought I was not going to put a ton of time into the research I do for those, but you just naturally start to like rabbit hole down those topics. And so yeah, 3 stories, all the spooky talk, the world tour of Annabelle, all of that really just added up. So we will see.
For sure. Yeah, like I said before, I don't really get scared that much in horror movies. But I do get scared with people telling scary stories or like ghost stories. And that really freaks me out, because I'm like, well, I don't think they would lie about this unless, I don't know, they're trying to get like something out of you. But yeah, when you hear personal stories or stories like of a friend or like of an old house they used to live in, that's what really scares me. I'm like, okay, I'm scared now. I don't want to go home alone.
That's exactly what we talked about all day. So that's why I was just like,
Yeah, that is scary. So I get it.
Yeah, but yeah, good times. So we shall see. All right. What popped into theaters this week, Rabbit?
Alrighty, so this week, Final Destination Bloodlines popped into the theaters. And at the time of researching this episode, Rotten Tomatoes has it as a certified fresh movie and has an audience rating of 90%, which is really high. I don't know, that's crazy. Especially for being a sequel and being this high. I don't know, I thought it was crazy. Maybe it's just because it's been so long since we have had a Final Destination movie and everybody is just excited to go see a new one. So yeah, it's a really high rating for a horror movie, if you ask me.
Yeah. I also wonder if maybe there's a lot of like younger generations too that just hadn't seen the first ones. Mm-hmm. So this was like a surprise. This is very anxiety inducing.
Welcome to the trauma. Okay, now to get into the movie summary. So this is a synopsis from Horror Brains on IMDb. So Stefani has recurring nightmares of a tower collapsing in the 1960s. She discovers that these nightmares are a premonition she inherited from her grandmother. The grandmother predicted the collapse of the building and saved a group of people from death. Decades later, the granddaughter begins to have visions of her family members dying. She realizes that this is a sequence and must fight to prevent death from reclaiming her family's bloodline. And then to kind of extend on that, for those of you who haven't seen the movie but still want to hear spoilers, Stefani ends up going...
Hold on. My bad. Not to cut you off, Rabbit. I realized that I don't know what happened in our outline, that I lost the part of warning you guys about spoilers. So this is your last chance to get out now.
Oh, yes. Major spoilers coming up. Okay, yeah. So to go further, I'm going to spoil the movie with this next statement. So Stefani goes home from college to figure out why she's actually having these nightmares. She finds out her grandmother is hiding out at a safe house estranged from all of her family. After visiting, Death is able to kill her grandmother and actually start going after the rest of her bloodline. So she was kind of like the anchor, as preventing everybody from dying. Stefani tries her best to save all her family members, but unfortunately they all die in brutal ways. She and her brother think they have cheated Death, and it seems like it's a happy ending until a train gets derailed and a stack of logs come crashing down on them. Very reminiscent of the first or the second movie. So yeah, that was a crazy scene, but we'll talk about it later. Next is the cast. So it was directed by Zach Lebowski and Adam B. Stein, which seems to be a duo. When I was researching this, they were always like working on the same movies, like co-directing, and they did a few Disney projects together. They even did like a Luchador Disney TV show where it's like kids have like powers and they become like a luchador. I don't know. It looks really interesting. And I've never heard of it. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
And then we have Tony Todd, obviously, as JB. And then the two main characters is Caitlin Santajuan, which is Stefani, the main character. And then Tio Briones plays Charlie, her brother. So yeah, first initial reactions for me. I did like this movie. I don't think it brought anything new, really, to the Final Destination franchise, but it was so fun. It had some really cool callbacks. Definitely spiked my anxiety. The kills were intense. The camera never cut away from these death scenes. And the best way to sum up how it looked in the movie was the emoji with the covered eyes, and you could only see like one eye. Like I was like that the whole time. Like I didn't want to fully see it, but I still wanted to see it, so only one eye would see those death scenes. How about you?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. If I could sum up this movie, it would be me saying that, you know that quote from Lethal Weapon, "I'm too old for this shit." That's how I felt during this movie. It's the first time that I've ever done this. I don't know, recently I've been in this mood of like where I actually put my hoodie on for comfort sometimes. And I literally like put my hoodie on halfway through and like started biting like the like strings from the hoodie because I was just like so like nervous. I don't know. It was my first time watching a Final Destination movie in the theaters too, so I don't know if like that added to it. Probably. But yeah, that movie was too much. Like, and I enjoyed it. It was a fun ride. The whole like Mandy Spooks check marks were there, but I don't know that I would like want to see it again, honestly. Like it was just a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I will rewatch this movie just because the death scenes were so brutal, but I definitely see people are like loving this movie. And I was watching a TikTok and he's like, "I can't wait to go watch it again." I'm like, why would you want to watch it again? That was so brutal. It was crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess to get into the next section is the tone and atmosphere. Like I said, it was just a crazy movie. I don't even know what tone or atmosphere these movies fall under because it's like suspenseful, but it's also a thriller, but it's also a mystery. So I feel like they throw like all these different genres and put it into a blender and mix it up, and whatever comes out, and that's the tone for this movie.
Yeah, for sure. And I would even add like super light comedy to it too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but it's just, yeah, I don't know how to explain it either. I was like really stuck on trying to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then did you have any thoughts on direction and cinematography? Because I honestly like didn't really have anything. I was like, I mean, it was good.
Yeah. I guess I'm not sure what this falls into, if it falls into direction or cinematography or writing, but I do like that this movie was a little bit different from the others, where it didn't cut away from the actual death scenes. Like we saw everything. Like we saw what happens to the body when something happens, which is crazy. Like we saw people like falling from the skyline and smashing into the ground or falling into poles. And then the piano scene, like 2 times the piano, it took out the woman at the top, like smashed her into the glass. And then it fell on the kid, which was shocking because they never kill kids in movies, really. Like they usually kill him off screen, but we literally saw the piano fall on top of him. And that was just crazy. I don't know what I don't know what they were drinking when they made this call. It's crazy.
I loved that part. That was probably one of my favorite parts in the whole movie because it was like, this goes way back to the Goldmates podcast, the Deagle rule. So if you guys have seen Gremlins, when the old lady gets killed, like going up the stairs and stuff, it's called like, we call it the well, it's a thing Mr. Spooks and I made up, the Deagle rule of like, did the movie actually give the person what they deserved? That kid deserved it. He was a little shit.
He did. I hated him.
I was like, hell yeah.
I mean, I still felt bad because it just was so shocking to me. But I'm like, he kind of deserved it.
Yeah. And it was great that it was like perfect timing too. Like he's like, I made it. Nope.
He was a brat. Yeah, I hated him. Okay, I guess.
Sorry, I digressed.
Yeah. We're just happy that kid died. That's so funny.
Yeah. But yes, we can get into writing and pacing. My bad.
Yeah, so my notes for this is whoever comes up with these deaths or whoever writes out these scenes must be so creative. And I'm just wondering if they're okay. As in, like, do they go through life like thinking about these things? Or like, are they afraid or like coming up with all these situations in their head? Or do they like sit down and like, okay, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen. So I don't know what that person goes through in their life. But I guess thank you for coming up with all these crazy things you think of. But the pacing was also really good. I never actually felt bored.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree. The pacing, I thought the pacing was almost like too much, like from start to finish. It is nonstop. I did feel like the opening sequence was like a little too long. It felt longer than they normally are in the movies.
Yes.
In the previous movies. And it also threw me for a spin because I was anticipating the whole like she wakes up and stops it. Like you always see it like play through and then it chases everyone. But since it was different, they kind of like switched up the formula, which was interesting for me. But major kudos, honestly, to the screenwriter or whoever came up with the idea of like how to tie all the movies together this time, because I definitely don't think it was planned. Like some franchises like Marvel, everything, like, okay, it was planned from the beginning that this is how all the movies would play out. I don't think they planned this one. Whoever figured out like, oh, we could just tie them all together, that was a genius idea. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And just to like give you a little bit of insight, I can't say for other screenwriters, but my experience with writing has been, I personally don't actively think about like how would these scenes play out in real life. I know Rudy does think a lot, like his brain's always in filmmaking. So when I sit down and write like my horror scenes, I literally like just picture like the scenario and then I'm like, okay, if I was this person, like what would I grab in this scenario? Like
right.
What would this be? So that would be such an interesting like webinar for them to have, like the writers of Final Destination, and like talk about their process, because it's good enough, like the scenes are so good, like that when we left the theater, we started imagining like, where is death? Death is lurking, you know?
Exactly.
So it's just like really cool. I would pay for a webinar from them to just like hear their process.
For sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there has to be kind of like a behind the scenes footage in one of like the DVDs that came out for the past 5 movies. So I'm very curious to see if maybe they had like a little commentary or something on one of the movies, or kind of like a sit down interview asking how they come up with all these deaths, because I'm sure that's a question that they always get, like how do you come up with all this crazy stuff? So yeah, maybe we should do some more research on that, because that is very interesting to me too.
Do you remember, I have horrible memory, do you know if in the other movies they talked about the signs being there the way that Iris does in this movie?
That's a good question. I don't remember. I can't remember either. I don't think they do, though. Yeah, from what I remember, I think they just get into weird situations and they figure out, like, oh, I'm going to die here. I don't know if they actually get visions of certain things. I know in the first movie, because when I was making the recap video, the main person, so the main guy in the first one, gets hints on who's dying next. Like the first time, the first person to die in the Final Destination 1 is his best friend, and his name's Todd. So he's the one that dies in the bathroom. But then the main character is at home, and something happens at home, and he gets like a piece of newspaper clippings, and it says Todd on there. So I guess in a way they've all gotten like a hint of like who's dying next. And I guess it was just a different play on that. But yeah, I don't remember if that's the thing in the rest of the movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they figure it out as it's happening, like you're saying. But yeah, I thought that part of it was kind of cool too, of them explaining like the signs and messing with it or not. I don't know. I just thought it was a clever, not reboot, because it wasn't, it's still a sequel. Right. So I thought it was a nice twist on it to not make it the same as everything else.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. And then I think this might be, oh, sorry. Did you have something else?
No, I was about to move on to the next topic.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this might be the topic we have the most to say about, so we could get into casting.
Yeah, so I thought the casting was great. I think it had a really diverse cast, and I really kind of liked them all. Like, I don't think I disliked any of the cast. They were all actually really good actors. I didn't feel like one had like a bad line or anything like that. But my favorite characters were the brothers, Eric and Bobby. I think they complemented each other out really well. And it was fun to see them banter back and forth because they were like complete opposites, but they still have like that love for each other. It kind of reminded me of me and my brother because we're complete opposites, but we still try to like protect each other. So I was rooting for them to live. Like I was really hoping that they figured out a way to cheat death when the older brother, Eric, came up with the idea to poison him or give him peanut butter. For his allergies, and they can bring him back. I was like, oh, that's a really good idea, actually. So I was like, okay, they're going to figure it out and it's going to skip them and then go on to the next people. And I thought the MRI machine turning on was going to be just like a red herring, like, oh, he was almost going to get you, but he didn't. But then they ended up both dying to that. And I hated it. I hated that scene. It was too much.
I know.
I felt so bad.
For sure. I loved them too. Even like I kind of hinted this at the beginning. Eric, I was like, he's like the total character you want to like hate on because it's just like, stop being dumb about this. Take it serious. But he was just too likable. Like he was really good. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I really, really liked the lead character, and I loved how they added more diversity by making like the dad Asian. And then I did research, and so Stefani and her brother are, actually I didn't confirm about her brother, but Stefani is half Filipino and half Spanish. I couldn't confirm like where from. And then the brother was half Filipino too, and I couldn't get over how pretty she was, honestly. It was really nice seeing like a lead character or a lead female, like kind of final girl but not really, be a person of color. And she also reminded me a lot of like Vanessa Hudgens. So I really enjoyed that. I also felt like Iris, or like old Iris, gave like major Laurie Strode vibes with the whole like secluded and being paranoid and no one believes her. So it reminded me a lot of Halloween 2018.
Yes.
And then I also loved the brothers. Bobby just gave me that whole, like, I just wanted to hug him and take care of him because he was so scared.
I know. I felt so bad with him. He would always wear the cutest t-shirts. Like, he had, like, a little bunny on one, and, like, the next thing he had, like, cute little characters on his t-shirt. I don't know. He was just so sweet. I wanted to protect him.
It's so funny you brought up you and your brother, though, because I really, like, I legit see it now. Like, you guys are totally Eric and Bobby. That's really cute. And then, of course, we have to talk about Tony Todd. That was freaking creepy. Like, not creepy in a bad way. Like, it was chilling. Like, I teared up on the final scene of his. Like, what he said, and then him passing away shortly after, like, that was such weird timing.
I know. It's a little creepy. But I actually did see the twist coming, because in the beginning, when Iris, I believe that's her name, in the beginning, she saves everybody. She saves the little black boy. I'm like, oh, that has to be Tony Todd. That's the connection here. That has to be like a throwback. Oh, that's good on you. And then it ended up being him, which was... I don't know. I really appreciated it. I love Candyman. I think Candyman is probably like one of my top 5 movies, like the the original Candyman. So I love that movie. It's so good. But yeah, seeing Tony Todd and what ended up being his final film, I was like, ooh, and then talking about death, it was just weird and odd. But it was nice to kind of memorialize him in that way, give him like that one last role, reprising one of his roles that he's kind of known for in a way. So yeah, I did appreciate that. Yeah,
for sure. It was very chilling and emotional at the same time. I don't remember what happens, but I feel like something happens. Oh, the whole like brothers scene is what happens right after. So they kind of like, it was like really well timed as far as like letting you feel it and then like immediately kind of like letting you recover from it so that it didn't take away from like it's a Final Destination movie.
Right.
Because I felt too real at the same time. So yeah, I really wanted to talk about that part. All right, I guess now we can get into like the main event, which is actually talking in depth about the kills and scares. Do you want to go first?
Sure. I think I've already hinted before how I felt about the kills. But again, they were just so brutal. I was cringing in my seat the whole time. I was super uncomfortable, especially when Iris dies in the beginning and you see her fall into the pole like head first. And they kept showing it, like popping it up on screen. I'm like, please stop. Like, I get it. I know how she dies. Leave me alone. But yeah, they just, kept showing us all these crazy scenes. But the main one that really sticks out to me for some reason, and I don't know why, maybe it's just a fear of getting crushed. But that one scene when the sister falls into the recycling bin or the trash bin, and then she goes into the truck, and she starts getting crushed by the compactor. And you see her face and jaw just like, I'm like, oh my God. And they didn't cut. Like, they showed the whole thing, just like her getting smashed. And that was insane. But the opening scene was crazy, but I don't think it was as impactful as other openings, only because I would never put myself in that situation. I would never go eat at a restaurant that is that high, being held up by such a skinny little platform, I guess you can call it. And then dancing and jumping on a glass floor where you can see the ground like feet away. Like, I would just never do that, because that's just no. Like, I've seen Final Destination before to know that this is dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I feel like the other movies left a more impactful feeling, only because you can't avoid really getting, I mean, I guess you can, but it's, I don't know, harder to avoid getting on a plane and also driving on a highway. Like, those are just two things that you cannot avoid that you will eventually be doing at one point in your life. So you can't avoid that. So I feel like those two movies have scarred me for the rest of my life, even to this day, because I can't even drive on the freeway without coming up with different scenarios of ways that I can get in a car crash and die. So thank you, Final Destination 2, for doing that to me. I hate you.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know why one of my favorite kills from the franchise is the car wash one. And that one has stayed with me too, because I've always felt like car washes are scary in a way.
Really?
Like, they're dark and loud and you're out of, like, you can't control what's going to happen. Yeah. So yeah, I get what you mean. That's a really good point though about how it, and then now saying that, I'm like, most of the kills do feel very like unlikely, or not unlikely, but just like not everyday things that you're going to be put into those situations with.
Right. Yeah.
So I really, really liked the MRI scene just because it was like so creative about the whole like the metal stuff, I guess.
Yeah, the magnet.
But I was like shocked with Eric having like so many piercings. Like, I was just like, oh my God, like, how many piercings does one person need? And it was like really surprising too, because like I did not, like, I had thought, okay, well, his piercing, but then when he brought the wheelchair in, they kind of tricked me, because I was like, oh, so Bobby's gonna be sitting on it and then it's gonna suck him in with the wheelchair. So they definitely like shocked me. I was not anticipating that to happen to Eric, and yet alone like how insane that scene was gonna be. I And honestly, as we're talking about this, I feel like the actual gore bothered you more than it did me. Like, I was okay with seeing the things. It's just like the anticipation of it that I did not enjoy at all. Which was kind of a nice surprise for me, because when it's like movies like Saw, I don't enjoy that. But then this kind I did. So it's kind of like
interesting. Maybe
because it's so like unrealistic versus like scenes in Saw are like you can literally see someone like doing that, you know? So, yeah. And then I really loved how they tricked us with Eric in general, of like us thinking that he was going to get killed, and like the whole, like they did such a good job of like playing that out and tricking us multiple times, because I was so sure he was going to die trying to save his sister. Yes. So yeah, that was a really cool twist. And then I'm trying to think what else. I did kind of, is now a good time to talk about the ending, I feel. I don't know. I kind of felt like I liked that they ended it, because I thought they were going to drag it out into like a second part, like a new movie. But at the same time, I think I felt the way you felt with Rosario on this. I just didn't like the ending. It felt forced and just out of nowhere. I did like the tribute to the whole like logs thing too, but it just felt like it didn't need to happen.
Yeah. I was hoping it didn't end with the happy ending. Like, I was hoping that they didn't survive, because that's the point of Final Destination, is that everybody ends up dying for the most part. I think there's only like maybe 2 people that they mentioned that lived or was able to cheat death. But the lesson is that everybody dies. Like, that's just life. You know, you live and you die. So I was hoping that they did die, but I kind of agree that it was kind of just like thrown in there. Like, oh yeah, and they die by the penny again. So yeah, it just felt really random. But it was still a cool scene, like how the train kind of like backed up and smashed into all the houses. And it was kind of like a callback to the second movie with the logs coming in and smashing them. But yeah, I did feel out of place in a weird, like just like, oh yeah, and this happened. And then, okay, go back.
Yeah, it felt like we need to find a way to kill them. Okay, let's just do this.
It didn't flow perfectly.
Yeah, so I think that was probably, I enjoyed the callback, but it was kind of like my least favorite scene, just because like I also just couldn't picture someone like outrunning a train that way I don't know, it just felt really strange. All of the other kills felt seamless, and like you felt your way through them. Like even with Eric's, like how long did it take for him to die? That scene like would never end when he was getting crushed, you know, or like pulled in. And that one was just like, boom, this happened. And so it's just like, all right. I don't know. It was just a crazy ending. I guess it's fitting for the movie, because the whole movie was just a really crazy experience.
Yeah, maybe that's what they were going for. Something to just like punch you in the gut one last time, to like, oh, and this happened, like, boom, take it. Yeah. So maybe that was their intention of making it so jarring and so out of place to freak you out one last time. Yeah.
True. That's a good point. And then there was one jump scare that I wanted to mention, and it's when Stefani goes to see Iris the first time, and then she dies and like but the blood splatters all over her. Yes. First of all, that scene was crazy, because I was not anticipating that would be the way that she was going to die. Like, I knew she was going to die. But then when they like cut to it again, when she touches the blood, I literally like, I think I screamed a little, and I never scream at the theaters, like ever. It's just like this, I was not thinking this would be like a jump scare movie. So they did that. And then I was just like, fuck, they're gonna keep doing this the whole movie, where they like randomly insert clips to like scare you. Thankfully, I don't think they did continue that, did they?
I felt like it was constant. Like they would like, somebody would die, but then they would have like a throwback. Oh yeah, remember this? And I was like, okay, I get it. She died in a brutal way. Leave me alone. But yeah, that scene was crazy. I would have just thrown the book out, like, here, take this. I'm about to die soon. But it was just crazy how like it kind of like lured her out, like, come on, you know, you want to come out here. And Death was like preparing for her just to walk outside. But yeah, and then when it just like went through her head, I was like, oh my God. And the blood was just so thick on her face. It was crazy. But yeah, I think I was like verbalizing things as I was watching this movie, I was like, oh my God. Like I would actually say things when things would happen because it was so shocking. So yeah, I see that where you're just like screaming a little bit in the theater because I was doing the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. I was surprised I didn't hear more people like gasping or like reacting during the movie because I'm like, this is the time to do it. It's like opening weekend, everyone's here. But yeah, everyone was just too like shocked to express anything. I don't know. Yeah, crazy movie. And then we can get into practical effects versus CGI in this. I don't know if it was the last week episode. But I had recently said that, like, CGI never bothers me, and I don't even, like, notice it. This was clearly all CGI.
Yes. It was. For sure.
Yeah, and, like, I understand why, obviously, it needed to be CGI, but it just, like, sometimes... I don't know if it's also just, like you were saying, like, no cutting and, like, seeing it the whole way through just made it, like, really obvious it was. But... yeah, it's the first time that it, like, really stuck out to me.
For sure. Yeah, I don't even know if they used any practical effects in this movie. That would be interesting to see, like, what they did and didn't do with practical effects. Because, yeah, everything seemed CGI, and kind of like what you said, maybe it had to be CGI because they couldn't cut. And usually, I'm assuming, I've never made a film, but with practical effects, you have to cut because it's not, like, a real body part. So you have to, like, cut and then make it seem like it's part of that person's body. But yeah, it was just insane. So yeah, a lot of CGI. And it didn't actually bother me that much because I guess it's what I expect from this movie.
Yeah, like it's just the kind of movie.
Exactly. So it's what I expected. So it didn't really bother me that much.
Yeah. I think it like still doesn't bother me. I guess it's the very first time I've ever realized, like, okay, CGI just doesn't feel real. But also, at the same time, it's like, does it not feel real? Because, like, you have never seen those kind of images in real life before. Thankfully, knock on wood. All right, well, let's get into the themes and symbolism. And I feel like you probably have a much better way of wrapping it up, so I'll leave it to you.
So yeah, I think Tony Todd, or JB, kind of really summed up the theme of this movie. He was pretty much saying you can't escape death, so you might as well enjoy the time you have on Earth instead of worrying about the what ifs. And I thought that was a really strong... I mean, it's a theme from all the movies. It's pretty much telling you can't escape death. Like, you're gonna die, so just enjoy the time you have and stop worrying about dying. So, yeah, it was just nice to have Tony Todd say it. Yeah, for sure. I have like no follow-up on that other than I agree 100%. All right. Do you have any additional notes or commentary before we move on to our final rating? I guess my final notes is I'm pretty sure we'll have sequels. Just because this movie's getting so many good ratings, like a 90%, that is crazy. I still can't get over that. Me too. And when horror movies do really well, they try to like milk every penny, and no pun intended. They make sequel after sequel after sequel until people are tired of it, and then it just stops being. People stop going to the movies. So I'm assuming there will be sequels. Like you said, it's not really a reboot because it's a sequel, but I don't know. Maybe they'll come up with something else. But I don't know. Usually they kind of fumble it and get lost in the storytelling when they try to make a sequel out of something that wasn't planned as a sequel.
Yeah, I feel like it's funny because seeing the trailer for this, I was like, oh, I bet you they're going to like use the whole Iris story. And then the next one's going to be like Bloodlines 2. And they're going to show like another one where that kind of happened. But then it was crazy because they literally just tied them all together in this one. Yeah. So then once we saw Stefani and her brother die, I was like, all right, here comes Final Destination Resurgence, because it's going to be like death comes again and it like starts all over because he's never going to stop. Like death keeps killing, you know? So I feel like that's what it's going to be, is like either like Resurgence, or they're going to start over with like Final Destination by itself, the way they're doing it with I Know What You Did Last Summer. I hate that they're not changing the name. I'm like, that's so confusing. Like, it's the same cast, same name. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they call it just remember, I called dibs on research.
Calling it now. But yeah, they can either just do a whole new situation where it's just like fresh, like not family tree, but like death tree, I guess you can say. Or they could be like, oh, we forgot about this family. And it's like another red line that can go off on its own. So I don't know. Who knows what they'll do? Yeah,
true. All right, Goldsters, it's time for It's Frickin' Bats. All right, Rabbit, on a scale of 1 to 5, how many bats would you rate this film?
So I like this movie, but I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 bats out of 5 bats. Like I said before, I don't think it brought anything new to the table. It's kind of, I mean, what is this, the 6th film? So I guess they're going to only do so much in like twists and turns, which it kind of did have a little twist here and there. But it wasn't anything groundbreaking for me. So I'm going to go with 3.5. What about you?
I think I'm going to go with 3. I feel the same way as you. I didn't feel like there was anything groundbreaking about the film. I enjoyed it. I also go with the whole, would I watch it again? Probably not. I don't need to go through that again. It was really fun, but yeah, I don't have any like major positive or negative notes about it other than like had a good time. I'm glad I got to experience that in theaters because I hadn't had that kind of experience before. But yeah, you kind of, not to like make you feel bad, you kind of like ruined the movie for me by saying they didn't do anything like realistic that like scares people. Because thinking about like new generations, they're not going to be like cursed for life thinking about like the highway and stuff, you know? So that alone is like they totally missed the mark on what their franchise is known for, of like creating anxieties.
True. Well, hopefully this movie will inspire the younger generation to go back and start from the beginning.
And watch the old ones. Yeah.
And then they'll get traumatized just like us. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah. I didn't mean for that to sound negative. I was just saying like yeah, you kind of like ruined it when you said that. But it was a really good perspective. So I don't mean it in a negative way.
Sorry.
All right. It's okay. All right, before we part ways for the week, let's have a little moment of Be Kind Rewind. We're all about the vibes here, so if this film hit just right, here are a few spooky picks you can rewind to match the mood, the madness, or the mayhem. What's your pick, Rabbit?
Okay, so I don't have a movie that will match the vibes of this franchise, because I don't think there's anything out there that kind of does this. And if there is, I'm sorry. But I can't think of any other movie that does crazy things like this. So I will either say go back and rewatch all the other ones if you're younger and have never seen them, because you will get traumatized. Or if you love Tony Todd, just go watch Candyman again. And that's a really good horror movie.
That's a good rec. Yeah, that's a nice one. I endorse it.
What about you?
All right, I kind of hinted at this, but like you're right, nothing compares to these vibes. If anything, I was like, okay, well, like the Until Dawn effects, I don't want to give it away if you guys haven't seen it or heard our review, had that like craziness to it in one part, like one specific thing of the movie, but the only other thing, like storyline wise, was I kind of really felt like it was Halloween 2018. Like the whole, like older lady traumatized, the family doesn't believe her, and then they finally realize she's not lying, and then they're trying to figure out like how to stop death, or AKA Michael Myers. So it really felt a lot like the new trilogy for me.
Yeah, I did get the same vibes. Like when she showed up to the cabin, I was like, oh, this is very Laurie Strode coded.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like very similar with like the mom and the daughter and all of that. So yeah.
For sure.
All right, Goldsters. We hope you had a bloody good time hanging out with us today. We're streaming and screaming to 28 Days Later this weekend. So we'll see you here next Monday with our freshly popped horror review.
And remember, keep cinematic horror alive and stream something spooky this weekend.
Until next time, sending you ghouls and kisses. Bye.